Well, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure that you're on mute. So when you want to sing, you can sing as loud as you want to with Rhonda and Sparky. My name is Lea Gilmore. You're at Music Mondays. This is a program for Govans Presbyterian Church. Right now, you're in the sanctuary, and Sparky and Rhonda about to do a show. So welcome tonight, and we are so looking forward to this evening. Sparky and Rhonda mean so much to me. We met at Common Ground about 25 years ago, just 10 years ago for me. Yeah, right. So we met about 25 years ago, and Sparky, I really was young. I was in my 20s, and Sparky, I sang with Sparky, and he said, "Girl, you know what? You can sing." So I said, "Oh yeah, this is just something I do. I sing in church, whatever, blah blah blah." Sparky's like, "No, you need to sing." And every year he was on me about singing, and to this day, Sparky and Common Ground are the reason I sing. But for Govans Presbyterian Church, Sparky, you know it's the truth now. You got to wave your hands. Hallelujah. So
You
every
got a handkerchief.
handkerchief.
Big like that. Handkerchief.
I am the first service music director here at Govans, and I'm also the Minister for Racial Justice and Multicultural Engagement. So, welcome to an evening of racial justice and multicultural engagement. I'm going to introduce you quickly to my co partner here in Govans Land, Maria Wong. Maria.
Good evening, everybody. Today's program is being recorded by Common Ground on the Hill as part of the Maryland Folklife Network of the Maryland State Arts Council. The video will be archived on the Common Ground on the Hill official YouTube channel, where you can find this and other Govans Music Monday videos, as well as many other videos from Common Ground on the Hill. So we hope you'll check it out and have a great evening. Thank you, Leah.
Thank you, Maria. That was so efficient. Wow. I feel so much pressure now. So I'm gonna let me introduce you to Sparky and Rhonda. Sparky got his start in folk music during the Civil Rights Movement, marching shoulder to shoulder with SNCC freedom singers Matthew and Marshall Jones, and playing freedom songs at rallies alongside such luminaries as Guy Carowin and Pete Seeger. He brings an authenticity to the music that can only be obtained by first-hand experience. Amen. In addition to being a multi-instrumentalist, Rhonda is also an author. Her picture book, Make a Change, and her young adult novel, Welcome to Bombingham, both focus on the civil rights movement. Rhonda, aren't you also a physician?
I used to be.
Yep, Rhonda was a physician. Over 50 years of educating and entertaining, Sparky and Rhonda have performed at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C., and the Smithsonian Folklife Festival, as well as NPR's On Point, Prairie Home Companion, Mountain Stage, and Morning Edition. All of the cool shows, guys. Love it. Their recording, Treasures and Tears, was nominated for a W.C. Handy Award, and their music is also included on the Grammy-nominated anthology, Singing Through the Hard Times. I introduce to you everyone, Sparky and Rhonda Rucker. Ooh, I'm the crowd. Ooh, yay, all right.
Good to see everybody. Most people don't know this about me, but I'm actually a kind of a recluse. When we're off the road, I don't want to do much. I want to be in my library, want to have a TV in front of me so I can shake my fist at Donald Trump, but all of a sudden, I realize when it's forced upon you, as this COVID-19 thing has done, I find myself missing all my friends, all the people we see when we're on the road. And I start understanding the beauty of this nation that we used to see all the time driving through all 48 of the 50 states. But the last 4 years, let's face it, last 4 years, people have not felt welcome to this country. We're a nation of immigrants, and we've been the shining beacon of liberty and justice. And it was So much so that the country of France sent us a gift, a giant monolith, a giant statue it's there in the harbor there at New York City, the Statue of Liberty. And inscribed upon that statue is a poem by Emma Lazarus. And a line from that poem says, "Give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free." Well, in 2 days, it'll happen. Well, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Well, I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Gonna walk the streets of glory. Some of these days. Well, I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Well, I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table. Some of these days. Honda. Hey, hey. Well, I'm gonna sing, never get tired. Well, I'm gonna sing and never get tired. Some of you day, hallelujah. I'm gonna sing, never get tired. Gonna sing and never get tired. Welcome, Kate. I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Well, I'm gonna sit at the welcome table. Somebody day, hallelujah. Gonna sit at the welcome table. Gonna sit at the welcome table. Somebody.
Woo! Still the crowd. I'm interrupted again. I just want everyone to know, Sparky and Rhonda, you just gave me the chills. Woo, my Lord. I'm going to sit at the welcome table one of these days. So everyone, please, our artists for Music Monday volunteer their time and their expertise and their talent. And we are so amazingly grateful. So it would be wonderful. Maria is going to place she's already done so, place in the chat their tip jar information. They use PayPal. So please consider donating and be generous. Thank you so much. And if you have a question of Sparky and Rhonda, they have so much incredible experience. There's so much to share. Please feel free to ask the question in the chat box. All right, guys.
Well, this next one is one that I wrote. It's on our CD called Let Freedom Ring. And it was inspired when someone told me a story about rafting down the Colorado River. And he said that it made him realize how important water was to us all. And you know, I think it's something a lot of times we take for granted, clean water. It's something that it's one of the most important things that we need in this world. And I've never understood why we throw stuff in the water and dirty it up so that we have to just clean it up afterwards.
Ask the people in Flint, Michigan about what
Right,
happens.
right, yeah. Anyway, it's
We
called
still got work to do, people.
it's called Living River. There's a place high in the mountains where the cleansing waters flow. Tumbling down the hillside to the valley down below. Living river, rolling onward, carrying my soul on out to sea. Living river, rolling onward, let the mighty ocean wash over me. Down on the banks of the river, where the waters ease my mind, carving through an ancient canyon, through the golden rings of time. Living river, rolling onward, carrying my soul on out to sea. Living river, rolling onward, let the mighty ocean wash over me.
You know, I'm one of those post-war baby boom youngins, which means that when I was in the second, third, fourth grade, the Cold War was what pervaded the airways. All the frightening sights of missiles being placed just south of our Florida borders down in Cuba. And having all of the air raid drills that we would do, you'd hear this giant siren, whoop, 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 whoop. And you were supposed, if you were at school, you were supposed to climb out of your seat and get down on the floor, place your hand this way and the other hand on your neck, duck and cover. Now you think about what that did to a young mind. That was our reality. And that's why I get nervous when I hear tales that for a couple of hours there's going to be 2 sets of the nuclear football, because at all times there has to be the nuclear football codes right next to the President of the United States. And until noon of Wednesday, there's another set of fingers very close to the nuclear buttons. One thing I always admired about Dr. King was that he didn't let people put him in a box. Oh, it's okay for you to, we're finally used to you raising heck over what's happening to black folk, but that's it. You ain't supposed to have any other thoughts. And when he gave that speech where he declared the war in Vietnam to be illegal and immoral, and people told him he was stepping outside his purveyance, like because he is the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he can't have an opinion about war, because he was a true man of God. And he knew thou shalt not kill did not come with a clause in it that said, except in this circumstance. And what I always liked about hanging out with the old folk, you know, as a kid, you know, even now, like, of course it's hard for me to find somebody older than me. But when I find somebody older than me, I see Bill just raise his hand. I don't know if you're older than me or not there, Bill. But I always like to hang out with old folk because I say to myself, they didn't get to be old being a fool. I can learn something from these folk. And you'd ask them a question and they'd say, well, let me study on it. Let me study on it. I mean, let me think about it. Gonna lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I'm gonna lay down my sword and shield down by to study war no more. all around the world. Down by the riverside. Come on now. Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside. Gonna shake glad hands all around the world. Down by the riverside to study war. No more. I ain't gonna study war. Oh, ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. Ain't gonna study war no more. No more. No more.
Study more.
Woo, I'm the crowd again. Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Everybody's singing with you, Sparky.
I hope so. I wish I could hear him.
You can, you in your mind, and everybody sounds amazing in your mind.
Yeah, because in my mind, everybody has perfect pitch and everything.
Me too. I have perfect pitch in my mind. Okay. All right.
Yeah, this next one is a civil rights song. You know, a lot of those civil rights songs were old songs that were originally slave songs. Now you think about that for a moment. You know that an old slave song could still be relevant that many years later. You know, it's still applied. Things were still pretty bad, but so sometimes they would change the words a little bit. You know, and when they use those old songs, but then sometimes they would write new songs, and that's what this one is. It was one that was written during the Civil Rights Movement by Bernard Lafayette and James Bevel. James Bevel was instrumental in getting the Birmingham Children's March organized. In fact, that's what my novel, Welcome to Bombingham, they called it Bombingham because of all the bombings that happened. And this was long before the four little girls at 16th Street Baptist. There were so many bombings between World War II and that time, which was 1963, that they started calling it Bombingham as a nickname. But anyway, he organized those kids, and it really ended up changing the city. It was one of the most segregated cities. It took a while. It didn't change overnight after that Children's March, but there was still a lot of backlash and whatnot. But he wrote a song along with Bernard Lafayette, and In fact, James Bevel used to talk about how they came to write this song. He said he grew up during segregation, and he was in a black neighborhood, but he could see the white neighborhood from his house, and he'd want to go over there and play with that kid, but it wasn't allowed. And of course, it was the other way too. You know, the white kids wanting to play with the black kids, and it wasn't allowed. They wouldn't let him do it. But he said he noticed that his dog didn't have any problems going over there and playing with that other kid's dog. And then he got to thinking, you know, there's dogs are all different colors, and they don't care. You know, red dog will play with the yellow dog play with the black dog play with the white dog. They don't care. They're just ready to have fun. So I think sometimes that dogs got things figured out better than we humans do. So they wrote this song called Dog Dog. I'm going to play the bones on this song. It's an old instrument. People would use rib bones from an animal and put them back to back, and so that they curve away from each other, hold one tight, one not so tight, and then you got to practice a few years.
Always a catch.
That's right. My dog loves your dog.
Your dog loves my dog. My dog loves your dog. And your dog loves my dog. Why can't we, yeah,
sit under the apple
tree?
My little doggy was playing one day.
Dog, 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 dog.
Down in the meadow by a bundle of hay.
Said dog, 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 dog.
Another little doggy came along.
Said dog, 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 dog.
He said, let's get together and eat this bone.
Dog, 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 dog.
Then
Why can't we, yeah, sit under the apple tree? Walk with me. You talk with me. Why can't you hold my hand and tell me you understand now? Can't you see that you and me would be happy with bones sitting on the apple tree? My dog loves your dog. Your dog loves my dog. My dog loves your dog. And your dog loves my dog. And why can't we sit under the apple tree? My dog loves your dog. Talk about a rabbit dog. Talk about a hound dog. Talk about a cool dog. Talk about a bird dog. Talk about a watchdog. I'm talking about a bulldog. I'm talking why can't we sit under the apple tree? Woof!
Dog, dog. That's also on our Let Freedom Ring album. This has a lot of freedom songs on it. A lot of songs that you grew up singing and sang.
Well, I
during
got
this.
bigger. I never did grow up.
Never did grow up.
Yeah, I didn't see any sense in growing up.
What's the fun in that?
All of a sudden, it's your fault. Yes, indeed. You know, every movement has music. And of course, the old broadside ballads that they printed over in the British Isles was always complaining about things like the king and taxes and stuff, or talking about how hard it was trying to cross this great nation in a covered wagon. So it wasn't just a civil rights movement that did protest songs. In fact, just about every folk song is complaining about some problem. But sometimes it's bragging too. I love Corina. Tell the world I do. I love Corina. Tell the world I do. let your heart be true. Corina, Corina, where you been? Where you been so long? Corina, Corina, where you been so long? I ain't had me no time since you've been gone. You know I left Corina way across the sea. I left Corina way across the sea. If you see my Corina, send her home to me. Without my Corina, life just don't mean a thing. Corina, Corina, where you been? Where you been so long? Corina, Corina, where you been so long? I had me no loving since you've been gone. Corina, Corina.
That's an old chestnut. Yeah. Okay. This next one is one that is the title song to one of our CDs. It's called One Earth, and it's another one about how this planet is. Sometimes we treat it like we got someplace else to go. You ready?
Flows like a river that moves earth's early morn. Heaven's creation, earth's liberation, and a bride of beauty is born. Time never-ending, the will unbending, passes, barrels on. One cherishing,
one earth to cling to, one earth to have as our home. Great living days above us. Oh, what have we done with the skies? Sea winds are raging, fires are blazing, while the people just try to get by. One earth to cherish and one earth to cling to, one earth to have as our home. Home to the mighty black bear, the forest and the whale, and the wide open sea, crystal-capped mountains to clear rolling rivers so wild, unfettered and free. Delicate balance of bounty and beauty, poised on space all alone. One earth to cherish and one earth to cling to, and one earth to have as our home. Brave living haze above us. Oh, what have we done with the skies? Sea winds are raging and fires are blazing, while the people just try to get by. One earth to cherish and one earth to cling to, and one earth to have as our home. One earth to cherish and one earth to cling to, and one earth to have as our home. Thank you.
Oh my God, just absolutely stunning. Absolutely beautiful. Busy Graham asked, where is it, where can we find the lyrics for this song? And maybe even the chords. Is truly beautiful.
On the album itself.
Yeah, the lyrics are in the album itself, but also somebody put up a YouTube of it with scenes and things like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't know.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll find it and we'll share it with you, Busy.
Conveniently bought from the Sparky and Rhonda Rucker store.
Oh, yes, we've shared that most definitely. And I would highly encourage you, everyone on this Zoom, to purchase their CDs. Absolutely amazing music. And as heartfelt coming through that digital beat stuff as it is right now, even though it's still digital, everything is heart and soul with Sparky and Rhonda. Once again, my name is Lea Gilmore. We put it in the chat, my dear.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
But I love your advertisement. It's so beautifully done.
and then we
And welcome to Govans Presbyterian Church's Music Monday. We are a very welcoming church, a church that, even though we are Christ-centered, we welcome everyone and everybody. All are welcome here. As every Monday evening, we have a musical event, and tonight is Sparky and Rhonda Rucker. And I would like to give our pastor, Pastor Tom Harris, an opportunity to say hello to you. Where are you, Pastor Tom Harris? You're
I'm
in
right
these
here.
squares.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
In one square.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hello, Tom
Pastor
Harris.
Tom. And thank you so much, Sparky and Rhonda, for this amazing concert that you're doing tonight. The music is wonderful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I just want to reiterate what Leah said and welcome anybody on this call to join us for other programming at Govans, Other Music Mondays, Sunday morning worship at 10. We are going to be online only for quite some time to go. And even when we do go back in person, we're going to have an online element. So we'd love to have people join us from all over. We are trying to create a church that's not where anybody can come regardless of belief and try to become a better person through our community. And so we'd love for you to be a part of that. We're going to put the visitor form in the chat again. It's been in there a few times, but we'll put it in there once more. If you sign up and put your information there, you'll get lots more information about great programming that we're doing.
Thank you, Pastor Tom. Sparky and Rhonda, Milan wants to tell you, says, wow, Ricky and Milan say, wow, you guys sound so great. And Rhonda's book, Make a Change, is great. I bought it for our granddaughter. That was Michael Seep. Michael, I hope I'm pronouncing your last name correctly, but you're famous, Sparky and Rhonda, but you know that. For all the greatness that you do. Back to you.
All right. I wanted to mention a few places that we're playing. I mean, it's all online, obviously, but we've got this Thursday, we're doing a virtual community sing that's sponsored by Carpe Diem Arts and Washington Revels. And Friday, we're doing an online concert for the Celtic Junction Arts Center there in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then on Sunday, we and Leah, you said you're part of this too.
Yep.
Pivotal events of the civil rights movement. It's an online event, Living Legacy Project. So anyway, it's all on our website. So the programs or the shows, I think that's the page that it's called. You can go on there and see about these things. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing more, and do you want to? We're going to do probably one more, and then maybe a couple more, something like that. One more, and maybe a.
But I got to tell you a story first here. You know, back before I met Rhonda, I used to be on the road about 10 months out of the year. And it was like, oh, you want me to, I was kind of like Andy Cohen. Oh, you want me to come play there? I'll drive all the way across the country for a ham sandwich. And, you know, that's before I became vegetarian. I think Andy still eats ham sandwiches.
He does.
I've been trying to talk to him about that, but he just keeps eating them ham sandwiches. But anyway, and you'd kind of sleep where you could, you know. Well, we got a broke down couch you can sleep on. Friends, I got to tell you, at the advanced age that I'm at, I feel every broke down couch I ever slept on, every bad burrito I ever got, every time I stood in line trying to get something to eat and the thing would close before I'd get there, going into all parts of the country, indeed various parts of the world, being on the road all the time, forgetting in the middle of the night which side of the bed the bathroom's on, and you crawl out of bed and walk into a wall sometime because you just were on the road all the time. Played a lot of schools, and if it was in flu season, that meant that I got 3 or 4 strains of the flu because them little youngins want to come up and hug you, and I'm a Southerner, you know. I'm one of them kind of people. If I meet you, I want to hug you because I figure ain't enough hugs in this world. There's a person who's going to be leaving office in a couple of days that definitely did not get enough hugs in his life. He shows it in his behavior now. He just never felt anybody cared about him. It's too late now because he's done messed up so much stuff. I can't hug on him. But I'm just telling you all this to say that how we wear us out. We're still, I guess I did about, back in those days, I would do over 100,000 miles a year sometimes. But Rhonda and I guess we did about 20 to 30,000 a year.
We did 70 one year.
Yeah, and then we miss it. We can't do it anymore. So I'm glad that we got an opportunity to see some of you on Zoom and whatnot. And I'm a Luddite. To get me to do something like this, I gotta love somebody like Lea to do this. I want you to know. And I was thinking on Dr. King's life. You know, I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old when a 14-year-old black boy from Chicago went down to Money, Mississippi to visit his great uncle. And this is during the time of Jim Crow. I grew up during this time of Jim Crow. It amazes me that when I was in college, Jim Crow was still in existence. What's Jim Crow, Mr. Rucker? Well, Jim Crow was an old minstrel song called Jump Jim Crow. And they were the bunch of laws that were given political teeth by Plessy versus Ferguson. Google it. Plessy versus Ferguson. That legalized that separate but equal. The separate but equal laws that were in effect from 1866, right after the Civil War, to well after I graduated college. It was the laws that had black folks sitting in the backs of buses. The laws that didn't let you eat at a lunch counter, even though you've been downtown working all day, or wouldn't let you use a public restroom, wouldn't let you swim in the municipal swimming pool that your tax dollar paid for. And that was what I grew up, 9 years old, when this young boy came down to Money, Mississippi. But because he was from Chicago, he had not experienced as much Jim Crow as they did in the South. And by a perceived flirtation, which, by the way, the woman who said he flirted with her recanted just a couple of years ago. But she said, this black boy whistled at me. And that night, her husband and some of his KKK friends came to his granduncle's house, drug him out, beat him severely, shot him through the head, chained a cotton gin to his body, threw him in the river. And that boy's name was Emmett Till. And they shipped his body back to his mama in Chicago. And she said, I want an open casket for my boy because I don't want any other mother to have to go through what I went through. I want them to see what they did to my boy. And that picture was in all the black magazines, Jet, Ebony, and whatnot. You know, back in them days, if you were black, you got them things coming in the mail to you. You had to have Jet magazine, the Ebony on the coffee table. And I saw that picture. I'm 9 years old. 9 years old. And I had to live with the image for the rest of my life. I was 14 when John F. Kennedy came to our local airport to give a speech because he was running for president. And I did a paper for my civics class, my 8th grade civics class. Got an A because I was so inspired listening to John F. Kennedy talk. And I was in 12th grade English class studying Macbeth when the news came over the speaker in the room that said John Fitzgerald Kennedy had been assassinated on the streets of Dallas. He was supposed to be the man that was going to save us all, the most protected human being on the face of this planet, and they got to him. And that's what radicalized me. I said, I can't wait for somebody else to do it for me. If I see something wrong, I got to fix it. It's my job. And if everybody did their job, this would be the utopia that we all hope for. Simple. You see something wrong, fix it. Fix it. They might kill me. You're going to die anyway. No matter what they do to you, you're going to die anyway. You might as well live a good life and do the right thing. I know I'm taking a text here and preaching a sermon, but I can't help myself. I got Church of God sanctified genes running through my body. My grandfather was the bishop of the Church of God, called a sanctified church. Oh, yes. I think the world needs more preaching. It was in all the magazines. Emmett Till was killed. And a woman who's working downtown in Montgomery, Alabama, working in a store, wearing them pumps, got to wear them pumps all day long, walking around, waiting on folks. And she's tired. She's coming home. She goes out to the bus. She gets up, puts her money in the machine there, and then she had to get off the bus and walk to the back door of the bus. Sometimes when people did that in Montgomery, the bus would pull off with your fare and leave you standing there. She got on the bus. She sat in the colored section. I remember that colored section, folks. In my lifetime, all this was happening. She sat there. She's tired, and she's thinking about poor Emmett Till when the bus driver told her to give up her seat. She thought, enough. No, I will not get up. I'll call the cops. You call the police. You do what you got to do. I'm doing what I've got to do. Her name was Rosa Parks. She didn't wake up that morning saying, I'm going to start a civil rights movement. When it come to do the right thing and to be the person to do the thing you're supposed to do, she did it. And so we got to organize this town. We can't give these people money. They treat us like dogs. Well, we need a place to meet. No offense, Reverend, but you know how political churches are, right? Yeah.
I heard something about that.
She's going to be superintendent of Sunday school. I'll straighten her out. Yeah, old brother John thinks he's going to be the next deacon. Huh? Not while I'm attending this. You know what I'm talking about. All that petty stuff goes on. Well, the man, he said, we need a place to meet so we can plan this strategy. Well, let's find a church that ain't political. Good luck with that. Wait a minute. There's this young pastor from Atlanta, Georgia, 26 years old, just a baby. We can meet in his church. He ain't been here long enough to have any politics going on in the church. That man's name was Martin Luther King Jr. I always added Jr. because Daddy King was something else. Don't want to leave him out. Dr. King would spend his time on the road like Rhonda and I did. One day, his friend of his calls him to Memphis to help out with a garbage worker strike. He didn't want to go, but he had to go. He said, but I can't go give the speech tonight. Abernathy, you go give the speech. Abernathy went there. He said, when he walked into the Mason Hall, the crowd was going, we want Dr. King, we want Dr. King. Dr. King had to get up out of his sick, tired bed and go over to give his speech. He was a wonderful orator, But he hadn't prepared a speech. He got on stage and spoke extemporaneously from his heart. He said, I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I know we as a people will get to the promised land because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. And he turned to go back to his seat. Because he was so worn out and tired, he almost collapsed. They had to catch him and sit him in his seat. But the next morning, he's feeling good. He's in there with all the preachers, all these young ministers. They start fooling around each other, start pillow fighting, having a good time, eating some chicken, whatnot there. Well, it's time to go now. We're supposed to go over to Sister so-and-so's house. And he stepped out on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel. Saw a man that was going to do the singing that night. He said, I want you to sing especially good for me tonight. Sing especially good for me tonight. And that's when the shot rang out. And Dr. King fell mortally wounded. You can kill the dreamer. You can kill the dreamer. But praise God, you can never kill a dream. I think I need to. He preached about love, read from the Bible. His words rang out like an old-time revival. He said you will need courage, but you do not need a gun. We shall overcome. They fell in line behind him, walking shoulder to shoulder. From a jail in Birmingham, he said it is not over. Pray sisters, pray brothers, all the way to Washington. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I know that I do believe that we shall overcome someday. But then one day in Memphis, skies turned gray. In the blinking of an eye, a dream goes away. But if you can't remember what that man has done, let's all sing We Shall Overcome. You know this song, come on. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, oh, deep in my heart, I know that I do believe. I've got to believe, Joe. We shall overcome someday. God bless you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. Sparky and Rhonda, there are no words how much we thank you for this evening. My heart has been stirred. My soul is feeling blessed. Honey, you just don't preach the word right now. You know that. You know that. Uh, Everyone who's attended, we thank you so much for being here.